gorgeous. Switch your dinner plans, pull up to the fortress. And assortment, cooking 7 courses. Young gentleman, see the perfect
Cause it was 7 o'clock, I'll be right on time and hitting the spot. You know you look so fine and giving you up, I can't survive. Shooting my shot tonight. Cause it was 7 o'clock, I'll be right on time and hitting the spot. You know you look so fine and giving you up, I can't survive. Shooting my shot tonight.
Ain't too many words I could explain this feeling. And bed with you's the best, it's next to making millions. Had them legs up in the air until you break the ceiling. Bust the wide open for me, baby, like you can't conceal it. Reach the climax, crushing it like a spike can. Sliding deep inside that and touching it like an iPad. I got to drive you crazy and we might crash. Candlelit, sweet lipstick up on your wine glass. We could take it slow like the speed limit.
All right. Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in to the Philadelphia Asian American Film Festival live stream. My name is Akshika Jain, and I'm a volunteer with PAP, and I'll be moderating today's Q&A for the film Definition, please. We'll be taking audience questions. If you have any, please just put it in the comment section, and we'll bring it up for all these wonderful people to talk about it. Thank you. So please join me in welcoming Sujatha Day, the writer, director, producer, and actor for the film. We also have Ritesh Rajan, who played Sonny, and Anna Khaja, who played Jaya. Welcome, everyone. How is everyone today? It's morning for you, it's afternoon for me.
Good.
How is it?
Yeah, good. I've got my cup of chai, so I'm doing great.
You're set.
I've been sitting in this chair for the last 12 hours waiting for this moment.
No.
That's why I have the clock behind me. The clock just keeps rotating as I say it. No, I'm kidding. Very excited. Thanks for having us.
I always
Yes.
think Ted is like sitting in the corner at school and he just got in trouble.
I know, it's a school clock. What?
It's a
Zoom
school
school. I'm going to Zoom school too, guys.
Wow.
Oh, that's awesome. I'm loving the energy in this room. You guys sound more like friends than really your family than colleagues. This is fantastic.
We are. Sometimes we hang out together still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And
I love that.
you know, we have histories with each other beyond this. Like I played Tesh's mom in Stitchers,
Mm-hmm.
And then
which we didn't know. Which we didn't know when we were cast.
Yeah.
yeah.
So I played a funny joke on
I
stage.
texted Tesh and I was like, "Oh, we got a great actress to play Jaya. It's Anna." And then he was like, "Oh no, she's like terrible." And then
I was like, really? I was like, come on.
And then I didn't realize that he was joking, and I also didn't realize that Anna played Tesh's mom in Stitcher. So.
Oh my God, that is awesome. That's crazy.
Yeah, she's like, I can't wait for you guys to meet. And I was just like, yeah, I don't care. I don't really like her very much.
I can't believe I let you guys
awesome.
tell
So you
the
guys
story.
were ready. I mean, that's crazy. So you guys already came in with a lot of like, chemistry, which is fantastic for you to work together.
Yeah, with Tesh and I, we had done I don't know if you guys have seen the Whole New World parody video that we did. It's called A Diverse Film. It's on YouTube. It's on Facebook. And we rewrote the lyrics to A Whole New World to say a diverse film. And we both sang it, and it was really great. One of the stars from the live action Aladdin retweeted it, Mina Masood. So that was exciting for us.
That's great. That's great. So all this question and chemistry actually leads me to question that: do you guys like it? So it is fantastic for me as also an Indian living here. It's just always amazing for me to see some honest stories come up, which are so not on the stereotypes and stuff. And so I just wonder, like, there are so many wonderful references that you have in your film, like little references, like things like thumbs up. Oh my God, I was so happy to just see, that because I don't think anybody else gets it, like how important that is, or little things like that. That how did you guys how do you guys keep that going? How do you guys bring that? How do you choose what kind of these little nuances to pick up that are not stereotypes that you usually see in popular media, but still resonate well with everyone?
So it was all written into the script. And when I was writing the script, I pulled from my experience. I pulled from what was real and true to me. So every time I would go to India, and you get like stomach upset, the thing that you think is thumbs up. And we got addicted. We would get addicted to thumbs up, and it was incredible. And we would try to find it in America. And there were all these legends behind thumbs up, like like it has 3 times the amount of caffeine as Pepsi or Coke, and we'd be like, oh, we got thumbs up from the black market or wherever, so it was fun when we would come back to America, and then Patel Brothers would be here, and we'd be able to just get it at our local grocery store. So things like thumbs up and masala Lays, which is one of my favorite brand of potato chips.
Oh my God!
Masala magic,
Masala magic.
Yes, the blue Lays, the best one.
The blue Lays. So what was really fun is when we were actually shooting at the Patel Brothers in Monroeville, Pennsylvania. This Patel Brothers, first of all, is like a Trader Joe's / Whole Foods. It's just a beautiful, beautiful grocery store, and there's like a woman making parotas in the back, like a little bread station, and we went out to the store to shoot, and a lot of the cast and crew just afterwards just like stocked up on snacks and drinks and just bought a whole bunch of stuff from there. But yeah, going back to the script, it was all just written into the script, and so we just took it from there.
That's awesome. Like, I think this is a credit to your writing, that you kept it so honest and you treated it in such a fantastic way that I think it connected with like everyone, really. So that's really good job. So and then you I know you grew up in the same town as the film is actually filmed in. So, and I see that you did bring in some of your life and experiences, but what about some of the other aspects of the story? Like, how personal is this story for you? And then I'm going to also request Anna and Ritesh to jump in at some point of time to also talk about like how personal or relatable was shooting the story, and how was that experience for you guys as well?
Yeah, I think for me, it's definitely not autobiographical, but it's very personal. I pulled from, my childhood, which was a really great mix of, I went to pretty much an all-white suburban high school, but then on the weekend, there are 3 temples in our region. And so I was hanging out with Indian kids on the weekends. I was going to Bharatanatyam class at the SV temple, and then I was going to Hindu summer camp in the summer times, and I was going to Garbas and Janmashtami and all the celebrations, even Durga Puja, and so I had this great mix of cultures. I never had the feeling of being torn between 2 cultures, which is, I think, really great. I just took the best of all the worlds that was given me, and I'm fluent in Bengali, and I would go back to India for the summer times, and so I just kind of wanted to pull all of that in. And really, I was inspired by a lot of American independent films that I have fallen in love with. I love Duplass Brothers. The 3 specific films that inspired this film were sibling drama comedies, which are The Savages and You Can Count on Me and Skeleton Twins. And I kept seeing these like really great stories and very American stories, but they just always happen to have white faces. So I was like, oh, I want to create a story like that. It's very indie, very much having to deal with a family, but I'm gonna put an Indian American family at the center instead. So that's where it's coming from.
That's awesome. And what about you guys? How about Anna? Like, how was it? Was it in any way personally relatable to script? Like, how was your experience with it?
Yeah, it was personally relatable in a lot of ways. I mean, first of all, just being a South Asian actor in Hollywood and one who tends to play a lot of South Asian parents, moms.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I've just found that there's a lot of predictability in the scripts that I receive, that I can almost beat by beat just tell you what's going to happen next. You know, that same old Indian mom trope, and you know, some aspects of it are true for some people, and
Right.
everything. But what I really loved about Sujatha's script is that it was just a story of three individuals, and
Mm-hmm.
Jaya is such a nuanced character, and her relationship to her Indian culture is specific to her.
Mm-hmm.
Her relationship to Hinduism is specific to her. Her relationship to her kids is most certainly not a stereotype. She smokes weed with them on the balcony, and
Oh
you know,
my
wants to
God.
know
It-
wants to know
the
more
coolest-
about Richie.
The
You know, wants
coolest
to know more about
mom
him.
ever. The coolest.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. And when she, well, have people seen it? I don't want to give anything away, but but you know, she has her reasons for everything she does.
Right.
And I don't know. I just, you know, and there was something about her that I really, it just ran so deep. You know, I loved her internal struggle. She's a person who, her children are her love, her life. She's lost her husband.
Mm-hmm.
They fulfill her so much. It's breaking her heart that they don't get along.
Right.
And that they're, and her son's illness is also breaking her heart, and her daughter's inability to fulfill her dreams and her purpose is breaking her
Right.
heart. So there was just a lot to mine there, but then Sujatha never forgot about the joy and the in the moment love and fun
Mm-hmm.
that these characters would have with each other. So there was just so much to do. I loved it.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. What about Ritesh? How was your experience?
You know, for me, it was really, really incredible to sort of just play a character in an Indian family, or rather a project that focused on the familial life. And even though we're an Indian family, it didn't focus necessarily on Indian tropes, but rather
Yes.
it really spent the majority of the time building relationships and focusing on the conflict between the family members versus focusing on, you know, how Indian we were, which is kind of what I feel a lot of other projects do. They kind of feel like they have to explain everything. Let's explain the puja.
Yeah.
Let's explain the food. Let's explain the customs. We didn't do any of that. We were like, here you are, slice of life, Indian American family going through their own conflict. This is what you're going to watch. And for me, just to be able to play a character that was focused on those objectives, and kind of just having being familiar with all the family stuff, you know, it's really rare for me, especially, even, you know, all the characters I play obviously are Indian, but we don't get to dive into kind of that, the family life in such a nuanced and I think like deliberate way. You know, it was very sophisticated.
Yes.
We didn't have to take the broad brush and do the whole cultural stroke. That wasn't what the movie was about.
Absolutely.
And so for me, both as a performer and a character, it was just really great to just not have to focus on any of that. And for me, that was actually incredibly relatable, because I could just worry about, you know, stirring the pot for the family.
Right. Right. No, I think that's so well said, and I think that was the unique aspect of the film. I personally loved watching that. It was really refreshingly honest for me in that aspect. So continuing on the Sonny's character. So Sujatha, like how did you go about writing his script, especially this? Did you have like a greater vision or a message around the mental illness? And I would like to again bring this whole lens of Indian community and South Asian community, where mental illness is still a bit of a taboo. So it's almost in that environment a little bit bold of you to write about it, but also important. So I just want to know what was going in your head, like why did you add that dimension to the script? What was your thought about it?
Yeah, like I said before, I grew up around many South Asian American kids, and as we were, you know, going through middle school, high school, there would be kids that were under a lot of pressure to, you know, do well in their AP classes or their PSATs or getting into, you know, Ivy League schools. And I noticed that around 9th or 10th grade, there would be like, one kid would run away from home, and the parents would be like, oh, why would Anand run away? He has everything here. He's got, food and shelter, and he goes to a private school, and, we pay for all of this. And me and the other would be like, yo, he's just like super depressed and like has anxiety and under a lot of pressure. And as I went through, college, I went to Case Western, where there was a big, Asian American, South Asian American student population. Once again, everyone's studying science and math, and they're pre-med or they're engineering, and everyone's under a lot of pressure. And there were actually, a few suicides during my time at Case Western. And so, and in these communities, every time I could see that nobody was talking about anything. And then in my extended family, I have mental illness as well. And so I was seeing it from all these different points of view. So I really wanted to, focus on just like one aspect of mental illness and make it a part of the family and have it be Sonny's character. I also made it Sonny's character in a selfish way, because I knew me as the writer, producer, director, and actor. Like, I didn't want my acting to be very emotionally difficult. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to make Sonny have all the emotional, life, and then my character will back to that. And it was great. I did a lot of research in terms of bipolar disorder, and it was really interesting reading about, different Asian American publications would come out with these studies about suicides and mental illness within our community. So I wanted to really just put it out in the open and make it so that it's easier to talk about amongst us. It should be as easy as talking about you going to the hospital for a broken leg. And I feel the same way.
So rightly said. And I think, as you mentioned, like, I think a character like that requires probably, I would just imagine, a lot of prep. So Ritesh, how was your process? Like, what was your prep process? Like, how did you get into this character's skin?
So I'm very much a student of kind of the theater world, and I try to get all of my clues from the script. What's happening in the scene. What are other characters saying about my character when he's going through his ups and downs, and obviously talking to Suj, from a writer director point of view, making sure that the way that I'm portraying the character is tonally consistent with the movie and authentic with the sort of medical experience that she wanted to convey. And so we spoke, very much in depth about what illness he had. And we sort of decided that I wanted to focus on borderline personality disorder. And then from that point on, really just reading as much as I could, talking to as many people as I could. Both my parents are doctors. A lot of my aunts and uncles are doctors. Very, very kind of standard Indian family. A lot of my Indian friends are doctors. So I like to say I'm the failure in my family. But I had a lot of resources. I was very, 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 very lucky to just from that point of view, from a medical standpoint, be able to have really kind of just unlimited resources, really. And then making sure that when it came to the performance, that I was doing the script justice and I was doing, what was appropriate for the character. For me, it's all about authenticity. And it's about how does this sickness manifest within the lens of the South Asian family, because they neglect it. So is he in denial about it? Is he aware about it? How does his outbursts occur in the family? When his mom is kind of throws it under the rug, how does that affect him versus the reaction from his sister? Because they're kind of on opposite ends of the spectrum in terms of how they want to deal with it. So how does that, constantly focusing on the source of what's causing his illness versus the results, because he's always ignoring the catastrophe that happens afterwards, right? Because he's caught up in what caused it. And so for me, it was just I wanted to make sure that I was portraying the illness in a way that was authentic to the family, and hopefully then could show start the conversations with viewers at home that are seeing it and say, oh, maybe this is something we should talk about, because, mental illness in general, I feel like is viewed as shameful in Asian cultures. Like, oh, it brings shame
100%.
because we can't diagnose it, or there's no concrete way to solve this problem. You have a headache, take Advil. It's like, well, if I'm mentally ill, it's like, well, we'll just keep this a secret and hide you and lock you in a room forever. So, I wanted to start those conversations, but more importantly, I wanted to make sure that I was telling the story that Suj wanted to tell.
No, that's fantastic, and I think it's an effort. It's a congratulatory effort to all of you, everyone involved in it. I think these are such important conversations, and you brought it to life as beautifully and naturally as you could. So we have actually an audience question. So I'm going to take a pause for a second and see if we can bring that up. All right. So Nikhil has a question for you. He says, love LeVar Burton. How did his cameo come about?
Yeah. That I hang out with this group of blurs, which we call us black and brown nerds, every Sunday. Before quarantine and COVID, we used to have brunch every Sunday at the restaurant right down the street. And now we actually just hang out on Zoom every Sunday. And this is cutting into my blurred Zoom time, and they're kind of mad at me. But it's okay, because literally like all of them are producers of this in this movie. So basically one day we were having brunch and LeVar walked by the restaurant, and one of our other friends, producers, Yvette Nicole Brown, saw him and was like, oh, it's LeVar. I'm friends with him. And then she went and said hi, and then brought him back and introduced him to all of us. And we were all kind of in awe. I think two of the guys started crying when they met LeVar. And then from that point on, he stopped into brunch like every once a month or so. And I was casting the film, and I had written this scene, and I was like, oh, LeVar would be perfect for this. and I was, one of the brunches, he had said, take out your phone and here's my phone number. And he had given us all of his personal phone number. So I was like, I'm just going to text him and see if he wants to be in this movie. And so I texted him, and he's like, send over, the scene. And then I sent it over, and he said something that I will always remember. He's like, you write my voice so well, my Reading Rainbow voice. And I was like, oh my God, this is incredible. And then he came and he did a green screen day. And it was just really just a wonderful day of, I don't know. I think we got the take in like half an hour or an hour. And then afterwards, he just stood up there on the green screen stage and was like, okay, so does anybody want a picture with me or anything? And so everybody just lined up to take a picture. And it was just it was so great. And one of the best experiences of you don't
be a part of your. Yeah.
What?
I was just going to say, I said, can I just be a part of your next film, even if I'm just bringing tea? I don't care. Especially if you're going to bring it.
Yeah. But it's one of the things where they say, like, don't meet your heroes. But he's just like one of those heroes that I grew up with, that I actually like learned English from watching Reading Rainbow. So I thought it was a cool, like, circular event,
That's awesome. That's such an incredible story and such a human story. I love it. So Jaya, I'm gonna come back to you, because Jaya is one of oh my gosh, she's the coolest mom. She is so cool. I think she's unlike any mom, and definitely any South Asian mom. So I want to ask you, and I know you talked about that too, despite being that whole cool factor, there's also some underlying complexities in that character. She has struggles, maybe has a difficult marriage, maybe something else, we don't know. But so how was your prep process, or how do you get under the skin of this character? What did you interpret that character to be when you read the script?
Well, first of all, she's different than, like you said, she's different than any Indian mom. First of all, I'm half South Asian, and my dad is a South Asian one. So I didn't have an Indian mom. And so
okay.
I always feel like I'm coming at Indian mom characters like just a little bit sideways or like a little bit at an angle. You know what I mean? And that's something I actually really enjoy, because sometimes I feel like it can take a role that's written as a stereotype. This one wasn't, but a role that's written as a stereotype and maybe just add a little something. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I didn't have that Indian mom. To me, honestly, it felt like I got to be more myself than I sometimes do when I have to fit this like stereotype of what an Indian mom is supposedly always supposed to be. And also my dad is not a stereotypical South Asian. He's pretty much the opposite of everything that we would say a South Asian is, you know what I mean? Like what you'd expect them to be. And he raised me that way as well. So I really, really appreciated and appreciated being able to live into a different version of a South Asian parent. That cut really deeply inside me. Now, I still came with all these ideas of how I should be playing it to fulfill the film and please Sujatha because of my past with these roles.
Right.
And Sujatha was the one that was like, no, from day one, she was like, no, I want you to be cool. No, I want you to be cool. Like, I think our very first scene, or my first scene, was the one in the kitchen where like we're all cooking and Sonny breaks down. But it begins really joyfully where Sonny's making fun of her for dating Richie or hooking up with Richie.
Yeah.
And I, my first take, I was like, who is Richie? Like something, like that. And Sujatha was like, no, you want to know more. You're intrigued. And I was like, are you sure? Are you sure this is what you want? And then I started to get it. And I was like, oh my God, this is going to be fun. Yeah.
That's awesome. That sounds, I love the whole process that you guys went through. Like, this just sounds so much more, again, honest, relatable, and true to what really is happening, and not just a stereotype that we're all used to. So that's fantastic.
Yeah, because this is a story of three individuals, that's what this is ultimately. Yeah. It's a story of three individuals.
They happen to be.
That's what we need more of with people of color,
Yeah, I think we really were able to focus on the dynamics of the family versus, the
ethnic background,
the ethnicity of the family, right? Yeah. So we had the ebbs and flows, and we had our takes, and we had so much fun, and just being able to work with these two wonderful ladies, like they made a very incredible safe space for me and everyone else on set. It was really an amazing experience. So
that's awesome. So we have another audience question, and I think we do have time to take it, so we will. Could we have that, please? All right. So Selena asks, what was it like filming in your hometown? Why did you choose this to be your setting?
Hi, Selena. She's the festival director.
Nice.
Yeah.
She's got a nice, cool Facebook photo.
Yeah, it is a cool photo. I loved filming in my hometown. Number one, everyone in the community was so welcoming. There's a fun story that I like to tell. We had a night scene coming up where there was going to be fighting and screaming stuff going on right in front of my house. And this was the scene with Tesh and Richie in the car with the baseball bat. And so we called the Pittsburgh Film Office and we were like, hey, we're trying to get a permit for this scene. And they're like, oh, you don't need permits. And we were like, what? You don't need permits? And they're like, yeah, just
roll the camera, roll it everywhere.
They were just like, you can ask your neighbors for, permission or whatever. And I was like, okay, this is very not Los Angeles, but great. So then I hand wrote about 8 or 9 notes to my surrounding neighbors, and I taped them to their doors. And in the note, I said, hey, we'll be shooting the scene around 11 to 1 a.m. tonight. It's going to get loud. We will definitely stop it at 1 and it'll be over. If you have any questions, call my producer, put his cell phone number in there. And then my producer did get a phone call, and it was from one of my neighbors across the street. And we were like, oh God, they're going to shut this down. And it was like, hey, can I be an extra? And then then when the scene was happening, when we were shooting it, there were a couple neighbors that came out and like put their lawn chairs out and cracked beers, and they just started watching us. And you know, definitely weren't loud or anything, and they weren't in the way, and they weren't in the shot. So we were like, great, they're just like watching a movie get made, which was really fun. And I, you know, made the decision to shoot back home. You know, we're an independent film, and I wrote it to be shot in my hometown of Greensburg. And there were a couple changes, small changes that needed to be made in the script. It was a clubhouse, but then my childhood friend, who was also our production designer, Caitlin McHugh, was like, oh, I have a treehouse. And I was like, what? Yes, better. And so we just used her treehouse, which was just beautiful, and she made it look amazing. And so, you know, everyone in the town really came together to make the movie happen. We shot the kid scenes with like Pyle and the girls making fun of her at a performing arts camp in Greensburg that was like 5 minutes away from my house. So it was a really fun experience that I'd love to shoot in Greensburg again. And everyone, my cast and crew, became obsessed with Sheets, which is really great. And I love introducing people to Schmiskets and Schmuffins and Schmagels. And so
they're gonna sponsor her next movie. Sheets, if you're listening.
Yes.
That just sounds like so much. Oh, sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you.
I was just gonna add that we shot, you know, shooting in Sujatha's family home and childhood home was like as an actor, it was just really helpful, and it was a beautiful experience. I mean, like the makeup and hair room was Sujatha's childhood bedroom, you know,
which like the same.
I would just sit there. It's like you're soaking it in. Yeah, it looks exactly the same. Yeah. It's like an artifact. And but like, so I would just sit there while I was getting my hair and makeup done and just sort of like soak it in and just you're not when they call cut, you're not hanging out in a studio in a chair, you know, you're hanging out literally in the home that in a sense, in an essence way, birthed this story. And so it was helpful.
Oh my God. That's just, I just want to be a fly on the wall on any of your next ventures. It just sounds so much fun you guys have had. Just one last question, and then we'll probably be off. What is next for you, and where can we follow? How can we follow you and your work?
Yeah. So I've been productive during quarantine. I wrote a pilot that I'm working on with a production company. I have another show at a studio, and I wrote my next feature, which hopefully will play at a future Philly Asian Film Festival.
Yes, please.
And you can find me at Sujatha Day on all the social medias, and specifically for Definition Please, we're also on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at Definition Please. So definitely follow us for updates, especially for public release. Fingers crossed, coming soon.
Ooh.
Incredible. I think we're almost out of time. I have so many more questions to ask and so much more we can talk, but so thank you so much for joining this live stream, and thank you to Sujatha, Ritesh, and this has been so much fun. Everyone, if you have not watched this film, you still have time today. Please log on to our website and get your tickets. We also don't forget to catch our closing night film tonight. It's gonna be awesome. So, but thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
You say this kill, black and brown, and when will you talk about class in this story? The rest is allegory. Come together, unionize, see it through each other's eyes. No need to fight over supplies while workers save lives. They need protection too. What we gonna do? organize a way through. And for those behind bars, we must fight hard. Global pandemic, endemic, systemic. No equality, no quality of life.